Feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the post-show wrap-up video here on the Central Pennsylvania Shrimp Tank. I'm your co-host, Nathan Imboden, alongside co-host Taylor Ranker.
The grumpy shrimp.
The grumpy shrimp, yes, all day. It's been sad, a dismal day.
We discovered I have too much blood in my bourbon stream. Been on a diet for a month, so.
Hey, we just got done interviewing Jack Oyler. If you've seen any Faulkner dealerships here on the West Shore, I know, sorry, East Shores, but on the West Shore, this is the guy that's helping to oversee and make those run as smoothly as possible. And you can find a full replay of that broadcast on our website at www.shrimptankpodcast.com/CentralPA. Also, go to your favorite podcast app, find our channel, The Central PA Shrimp Tank, click that subscribe button so you can get all of the updates of the amazing entrepreneurs we have the opportunity to interview. And we talked a lot about, well, really, Jack, your enthusiasm for cars in general and negotiating a good deal and kind of the thrill of the deal and how that led you into this business in the automotive industry. We talked a lot about leadership and the commitment the Faulkner brand has on customer or employees, I should say, and employee
the different approach, the ethos.
There.
I like the word he used for that.
But maybe most importantly, we found out just how fast Jack likes to drive in a car. So if you want to know all that and more, again, go to our website at shrimptankpodcast.com/CentralPA. Taylor, before we get into the meat of this, there's a really important question that we need to lob out.
I've known you for a little
Jack.
while now, and I've seen this, but it's also rumored around town that you really enjoy a good glass of red wine. Is that?
I do.
Well, in that case, we want you to meet the lovely shrimp tender.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Shrimp tender, thank you so much.
That's a nice glass of wine.
Look at that.
Ooh,
Beautiful.
nice tail, shrimp tender.
All right. I'll have to enjoy that.
Yes, I'm jealous.
Me too. That's why I'm the grumpy shrimp.
That's right. That's
Do my
right.
cleanse every January.
It's got to be hard for you to.
Oh my
see
gosh.
and drink that.
Yeah. I'm glad you're sitting right beside him taking a sip of that. That is glorious. Well, Jack, why don't you introduce yourself, give the viewers here a little bit of background about who you are, the Faulkner brand, and
Sure.
we'll get into it.
Yeah, my name's Jack Oyler. So I'm a president at the Faulkner Automotive Group. I run the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat store and 2 collision centers in Mechanicsburg and Carlisle. And I've been with the company for 18 years. Started right out of school and right out of college, Franklin and Marshall, and started working for them. The business has been a family business since 1932 and has grown from a single dealership in Northeast Philadelphia to 28 locations in the state of Pennsylvania with over $1 billion in sales.
Wow. The other thing, real quick, I want to talk about scale a little bit. How many total employees does the company have?
Over 1,800 employees.
And how many, Jack, are you responsible for?
Directly, about 160.
Okay. God bless you.
Well, that brings up an interesting challenge, and one thing we talked about with the idea of extreme ownership.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And how really that starts from the top down. And that's a concept that somebody who's, I don't know if you want to call him a mentor, but somebody you've started to follow
Yes.
has really helped guide you in that. But why don't you talk about extreme ownership and how that's played a role in how you really run the business day to day?
Yeah, extreme ownership is this idea that no matter where you are, you own the decisions, whether it's the decisions that you make or the decisions that your people make or the decisions all the way down at that happen at the front lines. Somehow, in a way, you own them, whether you could have trained them better, whether you could have set up better processes, all those things that, that go into that decision that was made. Somehow you had an impact on them and influence that decision and owning that responsibility as a leader in a business or an organization.
How difficult is it to actually do that? I mean, I would think, for me personally, my gut sometimes is to push it off on someone else, right?
Yeah.
So I love the concept, but is it difficult to actually implement in yourself?
It is. It requires you to look in the mirror a lot and say to yourself, how could I have detach yourself from the situation and say, how could I have done something to influence this or make this a better result? And it's not always easy for people to do. It's hard for people to admit sometimes, and it's much easier to say, that guy's fault.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, Nathan did it.
Yeah, I probably did. You're right.
Joy
Taylor.
did it.
You're right. Well, so one of the ways I know you talked about being able to accomplish all that is through the processes and the training that you guys put in place. And one thing specifically you talked about was accountability and how it may seem counterintuitive, but when you have accountability with people, they tend to strive to do better and actually do perform better. But talk about the process and the training that you guys put in place to help, because part of it that was very influential in your boom of growth in the last 6 years.
Yeah, processes and training are key in it to us. When you're especially in a transactional business, making sure you get those consistent transactions with a customer, consistent performance with a customer and a client. And training those people to do those things and writing them down and again, making sure that people are doing and holding them accountable to what they say they're going to do and training them some more. You can't train enough, in my opinion. The only time you fail at training is when people just don't understand or don't get the training.
By the way, I can give a personal testimonial there because I've used their dealership, the Maserati. So I'm the guy that drives that Italian tin can, right? And I can say when I call in your service department, truly, that it is the it's the same. The experience is the same. It's repeatable, which makes me trust it.
Yes.
So if I call for service, I know exactly how it's going to go down. I know I'm going to hear from someone within a certain amount of time. They're probably going to come to pick up the car. You know what I'm saying? The process, and that's clearly, and it's not always exactly the same person I'm dealing with. Yes. So I can give a quick shout out to that's true.
And that's the goal is, you when you come into one of our locations that you get the same treatment, no matter what it is. And, when there are failures, it's going back and looking at it and say, where did we fail and how can we be better next time? And that's where, the coaching and the training piece comes in.
Yeah. Well, quick side note, those of you at home need to look up Aristotle's quote on Maserati owners because it's very insightful. But we talked about...
I thought it was Plato. Don't we agree with Plato?
Somebody.
All Maserati owners are asses.
It's Plato-Stotle. I don't know. It's one of the two. I think they merged the two thoughts
somewhere
together.
From Central Italy.
So, by the way, I own two. What does that say about me?
Well, we'll leave that to the
gods.
Yeah. So we talk about leadership. You had a great quote, and you may have stolen it, but it starts with the sign of a good master... Mm-hmm. Finish that quote.
Sign of a good master is one who can teach. And I believe that, when you've mastered a subject or a process or whatever, if you can go back and you can teach it, that's a sign of mastery. And that's how you build it and grow people and grow things around you.
And the only way to really do that is to know your processes, know your systems, know all that stuff, and be as engaged as you can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I want to go back and ask one quick question because this was something that shocked me to the upside. How often do you run trainings?
We run them. Try to run them several times a week. 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the position. Some require more than others, but try to run them as often as 2 to 3 times a week.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Well, again, thank you for being on the show earlier and giving us a lot of good insight. Again, there was a ton of great information, very useful information that can help you as a business owner continue to propel your people to be better and help your business grow. And for those individuals who are out there who are trying to maybe seek out the Faulkner brand and maybe are car shopping or maybe they're looking for a job, who knows? Absolutely. What's the best way for them to find out about you?
Yeah, go to our corporate website, www.faulkner2bsure.com. And log in there and you can get to all the dealerships. You can see all the inventory. You can see the job postings and everything right from there.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for being on the show. Next week, we've got Mr. Ted Mowry, Gun Mowry, one of the original owners. We're going to learn about where he's at right now, what his role is, his whole background. So it's going to be a great story.
By the way,
I'm excited.
So am I. I have to wrap this up, though, by saying Jack was such a fun guest that I went from being Taylor the Grumpy Shrimp to Taylor the Jovial Shrimp.
Hey, that's the first time. Congratulations, man. That is good stuff.
The thrill of the deal.
That is good stuff.
Yeah.
I closed them.
He closed me.
That's it. See, that's the ultimate close. Well done. Hey, we'll see you next week on the Central PA Shrimp Tank.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond.